Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Ethical Cruise. This will be the last video of this AWS IAM module. This is a part 3 of this IAM module, and in this video I will be covering about the rest of the sections like Cloud Shell, IAM roles, some security best practices and all. In the previous video I've already covered about detail about IAM, what IAM is, how user authentication and authorization and all works, and about different groups, assignment and all, permission inheritance policy structure. Also I have covered in the previous videos about what cloud computing is, about AWS basics and all, so you can watch those videos to get more information about this thing. I'll provide the link of those videos in the description below, as well as you will find the link of those in this I button on the top right. Okay, so without doing any delay, let's start with today's video. So you already know about AWS CLI, as I already described in my last video. So AWS CLI is just like a workaround of accessing the AWS resources. So you know that we can access the AWS resources either through Management Console or through CLI, as well as if we are using the programs, then programs can also access the AWS resources. Okay. Also, there is one Cloud Shell which is being provided by AWS. Okay, which is like an alternative of this CLI. So this Cloud Shell is nothing but a browser-based shell that make it easier for us to securely manage, explore, and interact with our AWS resources. Okay. Also, Shell is basically pre-authenticated with our console credentials. So we do not need to provide any separate credentials to log into a Cloud Shell. It will be automatically authenticated. And also Cloud Shell is available only in selected regions. Okay, so for full list visit the AWS official page. I'll provide the link of that official page in the description below. You can go to that link and can see whether the region which you are selecting, it is having the Cloud Shell or not. Okay, so this is just a snapshot of Cloud Shell. It is how it will look like. So I just ran a command who am I to, and it gave me the result like this Cloud Shell user. So this is just a sample snapshot. I'll show you how this Cloud Shell works. Okay, let's go to Management Console and see how it works. Okay, so here I'm on the AWS Management Console. This is the home page. uh, on the home page on the top you will see this button, that is this is your Cloud Shell. Once you click on this, your Cloud Shell window will load, and then you can see that it is preparing our terminal, and then it is now where it is ready for use. So what you can do, you can just run a command to check. So it returned that Cloud Shell user is the current user. Okay, also if you run this ls-l command, so it will list total four whatever things which are already present. So this is one of the file which is already present inside this directory. Okay, now so let's run one command to list all the IAM users. Okay, so I'm having one user that is Robbie. So it has been listed down by this particular command. So in this manner, this is same as in CLI. Whatever you are doing from CLI, you can do in the same manner from Cloud Shell also. Okay, so this is just like an alternative of CLI. Okay. Next is AWS Cloud Shell actions. So there is an action button basically on top right in AWS Cloud Shell, from where you can basically manage all your Cloud Shell tabs. You can download the file, and you can also upload the file which is present. And also you can basically restart the Cloud Shell instance and all. So there are different options which you can do on the Cloud Shell tab. Okay, let's go to Management Console and see what all actions are there and what we can use in it. Okay, so I'm here back again. So if you will, so this is your basically an action button. So once you click on this, it will basically expand. And here you can see there are some tab layouts functions. Like if you click on new tab, so it will basically open a new tab for you. If you will click on this split into rows, so your tab will basically split into rows method. If you will split into columns, then it will split your tab into these columns. If you want to download a file, you can basically download a file which is already present here. Let's suppose so a file is already present, this demo.txt. So what you can do, you can provide a whole path of this particular file, and then you can download it. So for getting the file path, what I will do pwd to get the directory path. Then you can provide the directory path, and then you can provide the file path. So in this manner, you will be able to download a file, whatever data you want to download. Okay. Similarly, you can also upload a file. So if you click on this, then you can select whatever file you want to do upload. So the only condition is the maximum upload size, file size should be of less than 1 GB. Okay. Also, you can basically restart your AWS Cloud Shell. So once you will restart it, you will click on it, it will restart this. And also you can delete the AWS Cloud Shell home directory. So basically this is your home. This is your home directory. Okay. And if you will click on this, delete AWS Cloud Shell home directory. So it will delete all the content which is present in this particular directory. So as of now, it is having only one file demo.txt. So if I click on that delete button, then it will delete all this particular file. Okay. So these are different actions which are available for a Cloud Shell, which you can use. Okay, so next coming is now next is some Cloud Shell benefits. Okay, so the very first benefit is that we do not need to provide any extra credentials to manage it. Because Cloud Shell automatically inherits the credential of the user signed into AWS Management Console, because we are launching this Cloud Shell from the Management Console. Okay. And also it is automatically updated. So Cloud Shell basically provides a fully managed Linux environment, and it has all the recent versions of popular tools already installed and updated. Okay. Also, it is basically free of cost because it is a browser based shell to run script and commands, and it also includes 1 GB of persistent storage per region at no extra cost. Okay, if you want to read about more, you can read at official uh, document of this Cloud Shell. I'll provide the link of this document in the description below. Okay. Moving ahead, next is IAM roles. Okay, so IAM role is just like an IAM identity that you can create in your account that is having some specific permissions. Okay, so you already know about what IAM user is and what are IAM groups, and IAM group contains different IAM users, and IAM user can be part of a group or can be as an individual user. So IAM user is just like an IAM user. Okay, it is basically an AWS identity which is having permissions that will determine what that identity can and cannot do into AWS. Okay. But however, instead of being uniquely associated with any one person, it is like a role which is being assumable by anyone who needs it. Okay, so let's suppose you are one user and I am the another user. So and if we have provided a permission to this particular role, so when you want to use it, then you can basically wear this hat and you can assume the role of that particular role. And when I want to use that, then I will wear that hat and will become a assume that role. Okay, so if taken another example, like EC2 instance, if they need to access the AWS resources, so we can assign EC2 instance with an appropriate IAM rule. Okay, so in this manner, EC2 instance will be able to access that. Okay, also most important thing, that a role does not have any standard long-term credential such as password or access keys associated with it. So we see that when we log in through management console, we need a password, and if we are logging through CLI or SDK, we need access keys associated with it. So these are like the static keys and all. Okay, but this IAM rules does not have any long-term credentials. Okay, so whosoever will assume that role, as temporary security credentials will be provided for that usage. Okay, so if you've seen the screenshot below, so this is like a policy which is being assigned to user, group, and IAM role. So a single policy is being assigned to these three entities. And now one IAM user is basically assuming the identity of this IAM role, as well as an AWS resource is also being is assuming the identity of an IAM role. Okay. So in this manner, any entity or any user can basically assume the role. We will see more in detail when we will be learning about EC2 and all in the upcoming videos. Okay, so let's see how we can basically create an IAM role and assign a permission to it. Let's go back to a management console. Okay, I'll go click on this IAM. I'll click on this roles. Here we can basically create a new role. Here are different trusted entity type. I am just selecting this AWS service, and here I am using this common EC2 use case. Just clicking on next, and we can provide any policy. Let's suppose I'm providing this I am read only. Now we can provide any meaningful name here. Dummy role creation for demo purpose. Okay. And here we'll see it will have a small description and also a JSON object which is having the policy structure. Okay. We can just click on create role. It will create a role for us. Okay. Here you can see that it has created one dummy role creation for demo purpose. That is the basically role which it has created. Okay. So the next is IAM security tools. Okay. So they are different security tools which we can use to basically secure our um, AWS account. The first one is your credential report. So what credential report basically give is this is at account level and it report lists all of the account users and their statuses. Also, you can generate a credentials report from this IAM section to get account level information. So this is like your IAM section. Here you can see this credential report which you can generate. So let's go to management console to see from where and how we can generate it. So I'm already inside this IAM module. So I'll just go to this credential report. Once I click on this download report, a report will be downloaded. So yeah, this is like a Excel report which we are having. Since we are having only two records as of now, one is a root user and another is that IAM user which we are having. So that's why we are having only these two entries. And so you can see from these particular columns, the all the things which are basically present for this user, like this access key last use date, not applicable, access key last use region, because we have not used it, that's why it is showing not applicable. So in this manner, you can have the details of all the users which are present and what you can have the access report of this. So this is basically useful to basically analyze all the things which an user is having. Next is your IAM Access Advisor. So this is basically being used at user level. So it shows permissions granted to your user and when those services were being last accessed. Okay. So for this, what you have to do, you have to just go to this users and under users, you will see this access advisors. And here you can see all the information related to that user. Okay. So let's go to management console and see. So click on this users. I'm having this one user Robbie. I'll click on this access advisor. So this user is basically allowed to access few services. Okay, so these are the services which a user can allow. As you can see, there's allowed services are 4. Okay, and this basically shows what services was used by this user last. Okay, but since this user is seems like a new user and it has not exist anything earlier, that's why it is showing that it not exist in the tracking period. Okay, so in this manner you can have a detail of basically audit detail kind of thing. And you can see your this IAM user has access what all services and when that particular service was last accessed. Okay, so the last one is in this IAM security best practices. So these are just some best practices which you can adopt while configuring your IAM setup. So this will help you to secure your AWS account. Okay, so like first of all is the adopt zero trust policy. So do not trust blindly on anything on any resource. Do not provide any permission. Adopt the principle of least privilege while assigning permissions and access. Always try to start with the least privilege when you are assigning any permissions. Do not provide any full access or any administrative access. You can just check those audit report like I showed you here, this particular access advisor. Here you can see what all resources, what all services are being used by that particular user. And if you are seeing few services are listed here which are not being used by that user, then you can remove the permissions of those services so that it will not be of any use. Third one is like your enforce a strong password policy. This we already discussed in the last video that you should have a strong password policy mechanism, and also multi-factor authentication should be enabled. So it will like a second layer of defense to securing your AWS account. Okay, and also if you have access key, you have generated the access key for your account, then always rotate it regularly so that if by mistake or by any chance your access keys get lead. So it, since you are rotating it, so the previous access key will not be of any use. Okay. Also keep in mind the very important one, don't use the AWS root user except the AWS account setup. So make it a practice to create an IAM user and then use that IAM user with the limited access. Okay. And also use this IAM access analyzer to generate your least privilege policies based on your access activity. So whatever activity you are performing, this IAM access analyzer will analyze those and will generate least privilege policies. Okay. And then you can assign that policy to your user. Also, do a regular audit and review and remove any unused user, any role, permissions, policy, and credentials which are not of any use, so that it will not be lying around and it will not be creating any misuse. Also, set up password expiry policy so that whatever password you are having, it will be expired after some time, so that it will force you to basically create a new password. Also regularly audit access to resources, never share IAM user and access keys, and use groups to assign permission to IAM users. So these are some of these best practices which you should follow, because this will ensure the security of your AWS account. Also, there is one official AWS best security document page. I'll put the link of the document in the description below. You can go through that link and can ensure that whatever security measures you are taking, it is being recommended by AWS. So yeah, that is all in the today's video. In this video, we have completed the IAM module, and from the next video, I'll start about the EC2 instance and all. So we will see in details what EC2 is and how we can use it. Okay. So please do like the video, share this video with your friends and colleagues, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel, Ethical Cruise. Also, you can visit my blogging website ethicalcruise.com, where you can read about the security basics, footprinting, reconnaissance, cloud computing, AWS, and all. So I will see you all in the next video to continue with this cloud computing series. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.